Sunday the 23rd, and it's been a really cold night, but it's a lovely sunny morning. It's not really warm enough to sit out here yet, but it's certainly getting warm enough to enjoy some time around here. So I'm going to flip you around and show you the main pond. It's week before the bank holiday, so the bank holiday weekend is normally the note for me, that trigger to get around the main pond, get the pond balls off, give the shower a clean out, give the veg feed filter an empty with the hoover the pond out, wash everything down, do a bit of weeding. This thing at this time of year as well, it flipping drops seeds and all sorts of crap, so it's a right pain. So as much as it's nice to have this lovely Virginia red robin, we actually bought it when we built a house. It was a little tree here, and it provides a lovely bit of shade on the deck, but it is a pain in the arse, which will mean more frequent cleaning of the skimmer. And then I've just literally going to go down the greenhouse in a moment to see that pond, but at the minute, as you can hear, it's quite quiet here because the skimmer line off, the pump is off, because that coincides through the season when I feed with an auto feeder. So the skimmer goes off, feeder goes off, so feed don't go down the skimmer line. Anyway, thought I'd take the glass panel off and have a look at the koi. The chagoi, the big chagoi, literally was one of the first up with her big mouth. I'm sure it's a female, her big mouth, and I was literally shoveling in food. I was literally with my hand, like almost pouring it in. It was that hungry. There they all up to underneath there. This carp here, this koi, this Matsuba, has got a bit of I can never call it saffronegia or something. Can you see the green fuzzy on its head? So I had problems with that on its head last year, look, and I PP'd it, cleaned it on its head, antibac on it, the usual stuff, and it was okay. But obviously in this pond it's not warm enough to sort of fully heal, but it looks pretty decent actually. It's not gone skin deep or anything like that, just a bit of growth on its head. So I'll get that out, do the same thing next weekend, bank holiday. Once I give everything a good clean, I'll spend a couple of days out here, and I don't know, I thought I'd give you a rare opportunity to see them. The water temperature in here now on here is saying it's 11.5. There's one eye on a one-eyed fish. I had to take that eye out. The water clarity is pretty good. There's a chagoi there, look, in the background. You can't see, I'm sorry with the glare, but it's in the background. So the head count, the fish are looking really good, and they haven't really been fed. You know, they've had little trickles when the water temperature's been above 9. And here it is with that little, there, look, on its head. So that's going to have that's the only one that looks like it's got anything, you know, anything wrong with it. The chagoi's got a mark on its bloody head, which they do often get because they're big fish and they like to, they're nosy and X, Y and Z. We've had loads of rain again. Good God, loads of rain, but what a lovely day it is. Beautiful. Still not managed to cut the grass yet. It's growing like one here, but it's just been too wet. It just seems to be bloody wet all the time. So the pond balls will be on for a little bit longer because we do see in the UK extremes of temperature still at this time of year, so it will help the pond gain temperature quicker because these pond balls, these 4-inch ones, do let light through, so this pond will gain the heat and it won't lose it as quick because it's obviously still covered and insulated. But as soon as next week comes and the shower goes on and things like that, then you may as well uncover because the water flow through and through the blade will lose the temperature anyway. So yeah, and it will help with extremes of temperature. When the temperature does drop at night, it's got a bit of insulation. And look at the grass. So what we will do, I've got my coffee in tow again. Summer's excited to see me. She loves that little walk down, and it's not happened often. I am getting sick of this soggy grass. What about you? I've never known a winter like it. In my 49 years, in the wettest winter I've known. It really has. And it's been bloody expensive, but it's not been massively cold, has it? And that's because of the flipping gas and electric prices. We're getting squeezed. So the bees are out. It's been a tough year for them actually. I've lost a couple of colonies. I've got absolutely loads of spring cleaning to do, loads to do. But let's see, and I'll give you a run through of what went down yesterday. So hopefully you've seen the video of me doing scrapes and stuff like that. The bit of an indoor spring clean. Now that's a concern, what I've just seen. I was going to say I made a change yesterday. Can you see this here? I put a spray bar on the trickle tower and it was lovely and flowing yesterday, but something's happening with that and I'm not sure what. I know what's up with that. Left my bloody filter in. Oh yeah, it's pulled straight off, look. Left the filter in. Idiot. From yesterday, see? It's caused a block, obviously a restriction. So whenever you do anything, I always say this, make sure you check everything when you leave. I always put this in temporarily when I fire the pod up, because normally when you've messed with it, you get that bit of muck still flowing through and it just saves that. You know, look at all that would have gone through. Look at it. But that's caused a restriction. No, that's not gonna let it out. Anyway, so there you go, that's that. You've caught that live. So yeah, what's changed? Everything's looking good in here. The water temperature 17.2, 17. The air source heat pump's not got power to it because the actual light's off here. The power, the heat light is off. So that's obviously maintained a good temperature overnight. The minimum temperature the Inkbird is reporting is 17.2, which is good. So it's holding temperature. So I reckon it got to a few degrees, single digits last night, low single digits. And it's holding its temperature, which is bloody marvellous. And that's the benefit of indoor. So if you think already, we've just shown you the outdoor pond at 10.5, around 10, I think it was it? Yeah, 11.5. And that's got the same sort of monitor, temperature monitor, and in here we're at 17. And the heaters aren't on. So that's significant. Potentially looking at 6 to 7 degrees. Now, what I did with the fish yesterday, this one came out, got scraped. So I'm going to, like I say, on the last video, I didn't conclude. I just shown you what I was doing. So this video, we're going to conclude. Now, that shower came out. And I've got to say, I did 2 good scrapes on that. I really went to town, as you seen on the camera. I sat there for a good, I think it was 15 minutes, and I couldn't find anything. Nothing at all. No costia, no parasites, 0, not even one, not even one fluke. So that one, I just cleaned its back, as you've seen, put it back in the pond. And this morning it's looking relatively happy, as you can see. They've all been fed. The auto feeder went off at 9 o'clock. It's now 10 o'clock, an hour ago. So they're all feeding well. And a couple of them, they had marks on the side. So I got them when I got them out, scraped them, well, scraped 2 or 3 of them. and a couple of them, one of them being, where is it? That's the best one to show you. This shower here bobbing around now, the Tancho. That one's got really ugly sides, two sides where it's red, raised scales. So I got my brush, really got underneath with a cleaner, and then I made like a anti-back. I got anti-back, and then I got PP, and I mix a bit of PP into a paste, like a watery paste, and I brush that in between the scales and on top as well, and then I spray with anti-back on top. And that is what that got. And yesterday when I did it, it actually turned, looked like a big purple marks on its side, because obviously PP, as you know, stains. I had bits on my fingers, so it looked a bit of a mess. But this morning, yeah, it looks a little bit bruised on its side and that, look. But actually, the area doesn't look as aggressive, as angry, which is good. So hopefully it will show signs of healing. That's what we want now. So I did that with that fish. I did it with the Shintaro Sankey as well, wherever that one is. The Shintaro Sankey. This one here. Now this one, on this side, this left side, it had a bit more of a raised scale, like on its skin, which I can explain it. It's almost like, you know, when you get like a rough area on your skin and you sort of then get a hard patch. It was a bit like that. So I couldn't pull the scale out or anything. It was really sort of like attached. So I don't know whether that is a combination of, it's just grown this hardness over the top of it. I don't know. So we'll have to see on that one. It's on its right hand side, look. But that one's looking, that had purple patches on where I'd treated it as well. But they recovered well, they looked very happy. And then, was that it? That was 1, 2, 3, that's the 3 fish. And then I had this one out here. This one out. Had a check on that big kohaku. Now I know people won't agree with me, but this one had a dark, just near its dorsal, had a big dark shimmy showing, just on surface shimmy. So I had that one out and I had a look, and I just got a lightly sharper object. It was sedated, and just lightly scraped it. Lightly scraped the surface off. Not going deep, not causing holes or anything like that. Just lightly scraped it, and then anti-back that and treated that. So hopefully that won't, you know, have a negative reaction. It looks okay. It will probably look a bit bad, you know, at first, but hopefully that will heal fine. So that's that one. Oh, and then I had this one out as well. This kohaku, the one that had the, on its back quarter, a couple of scales that had looked like they would, you know, they had something wrong with them, and then they're starting to heal. So I've treated that as well. So they've all had a good going over. I've had scrapes, couldn't find no parasites, which is great, which gets you then thinking, well, what is it? Well, I've checked my KH. KH was 3. So it's that time of year now where the filters all kick off. So every week I'll just put a small amount of bicarb in when I do my water change. Just keep that topping up at that stable 0.3-ish. What else should I do? Oh, that was just pumping straight in. So I thought I had a long spray bar before, but the end came off. So I've just cut it in half, made a smaller spray bar that's just gravity fed, just to get more surface agitation going, as you can tell, and that's working a treat. Now the only thing that was happening was there was half the holes than that, and this was actually filling right up to here, so that bothered me obviously quite a lot. I don't want this filling, so I had to get my heat gun out and pierce about twice as many holes in, as you can see. And now it doesn't fill. It doesn't fill up. I think it fills to about here. So some of it is submerged, and that's because of the back pressure and the delivery of water. Now I am contemplating on putting an overflow here, on here, just in case it does, these block up and block. But I've just got to keep an eye on it. when you haven't got a complete open end, there is always a risk that it blocks up, but that's the last on the filtration. It's got to go through the pod, through here, through here, through here, down here. So the chances of them all blocking up and the backfilling and that overflowing over here, I think is pretty slim, but there's a potential. So you should have safety things in place, i.e. an overflow. So if it does overflow, it can come over into the pond. But anyway, I'm running the gauntlet there. But what I will do, if I go away on holiday or anything, I will just take the end off and let it just flow straight in, unrestricted. I can show you that now, when you can hear it. If you listen, you'll hear it. Blah, blah, blah. So if I do, did you hear it? That gurgle? Well, that was the gurgle of this emptying. Now, on that, it didn't gurgle for long, did it? So I reckon we're about here. On that, with the amount of time, that only took like 1-2 seconds to empty, didn't it? So I think it's probably, the back pressure's probably filling it there. So, in essence, I have got some submerged media, a quarter submerged and 3/4 not submerged. So 3/4 is literally trickling through it, and 1/4 is, you know, so that might be actually better actually. It's a bit more diversity with that media. And then that's flowing into there. Or would you simply leave it like that, folks, and just have it pointing straight into the pond? I don't know. I mean, that causes quite a few bubbles, don't it? But let's just pop that back on again and see the difference. You can hear that backfilling. Here we go, back to the spray bar. It's obviously noisier for filming and stuff. I think that does cause quite a bit more disturbance actually, because there's a lot more flow this way. So that's that. So I spent a good 2-3 hours in here yesterday. I've tidied, I know you probably can't tell, but I've tidied this up somewhat. I've got the overflow now. I've took that tank out that was here, my overflow, but I still wanted an overflow, so I bought another one of these pipes, pond pipes, because I've got a connection there, as you can see. So I've basically connected there, come across, and the overflow goes into my overflow there, and that is just, it's got an upturn, it's a bit of a gooseneck. So if I do, for whatever reason, leave this on, and if this wants to overflow here, it won't overflow the sides into the pond, it will overflow down and to waste. So if I ever go back to a trickle fill, I'm set up, which I don't think I'm going to on here, because it's only 5,000 litres, so it's not a nuisance to do a water change, because this holds quite a bit of water and drops the water in here quite a lot. So I'm basically doing that every week. So yeah, I've had to put some tie wraps in to support it because of all my pipe work and cables and stuff. I wanted to get it in, so I've got that function. The actual feeder programmer now that's there was there. I've moved so the cable goes into there now, along with that controller and that controller. So I can't switch them off, I've not got the handy function there, but I can switch them off through the controllers anyway. So I don't need to turn them on or off like I do the UV. So if I do a filter clean, for example, you should turn your UV off so it's not running dry or anything. So I need to be able to get quick access to the cover on you know, turn it on and off very quickly. And also I put the heater cable into there as well. So I've got a spare now, because I was getting spare sockets, so I've got one spare. So if I want to put the UV on to this pond, because that's got a UVC on there, I can put it on. So it might come a time soon when I do. The water clarity is looking okay in there in a minute. But for this one, I thought, right, I've got them out, done my spring scrapes, great. They're all clear of parasites, great. I don't have to spend money and treat them. However, there is some sort of issue. Now, what it looks like it looks like some of them have had issues with the scales, so almost like some scale fungus or something like that, like a scale, almost like a scale rot. I don't know, so I don't know whether this is kicked on from a fish, i.e. the shower that had it anyway. Originally I bought that in because it had a problem with its scale, and a combination of when I had new pond syndrome last year has maybe kicked it off for a couple of others, or have they caught something from that? And fingers crossed it's not a bacterial issue. It looked like some sort of fin rot type thing, starting at that, and then the end of the scale was like got green on it, starting to get green algae growing on it, if you know what I mean. But it was like the green wasn't surface, it was like within it, within the scale, like some sort of rot type thing sort of setting in, fungus. So that one's looking really nice and clean now on that side, and it's not ugly and raised, because you've got to get right under the scale, because if that muck gets under the scale, that's where then it starts to expand its crap and dirt underneath and bad bacteria grow, and it just blows the scale up. So you've got to get really underneath with a brush, because it's quite, the pocket underneath is quite deep, underneath the scale, how they overlap, it really is quite deep. So that's that. Hopefully they all respond now with the water temperature going high. So as soon as I can get this to 24, the better, because they'll recover better. What else to update? Oh, and then I thought, right, to lower the bacterial load of the pond, being it's this time of year, the bad bacteria as well, I put Virkon in, a treatment of Virkon. So while they are recovering, and I've cleaned them, so they've had the parasite check, they've had topical treatment of the actual ailments of the skin and stuff like that, and then I put Virkon in to lower the pond, the bacterial load in the pond. So hopefully that will knock on the load of bad bacteria if there's any in there, and give it, the pond, the fish, a good environment. The UV's on, so hopefully there'll be less algae in the water. Algae is not bad for them, you know, the dark green water. But I'm just thinking, the better the water quality, the better chance they've got to recover well into spring and summer, and coming out of summer, while I've got a chance to get them fully healthy, so they're not like this going into next winter when it's cold. And then the immune systems, that's a key as well. When the temperature's higher, the immune systems are better for recovery. At lower temperatures, the immune system's low and they don't recover. So from these types of ailments, they struggle to recover because the environment is rife for when it's cold, for these types of things to grow and thrive. So when it's that, the immune system should start kicking in better and recovering. Now my only final option then would be to get some sort of anti-fungal type treatment and just do a blanket dose of that. So yeah, there you go. That was a whole lot of rambling, wasn't it? So that there now, coffee in tow, is a full update of what I was up to yesterday for 3 hours and the bits of changes. So with these temperatures, it not be long before these are on quite a few feet a day and all up in. So today, Sunday the 24th, the only thing I've got to do is clean that filter out. That'll take a few minutes. And off we go. So what do you think, guys? Got a question for you. What would you do? Would you put an antifungal treatment in while I'm at this point? And if so, which antifungal treatment would you use? I think a lot would probably go for FMG, but I think is it the formalin that's in there, the F in it, is obviously to strip mucus coating. Then the malachite, I think that is the one that is for the fungal type stuff. So shall I put malachite green in there? Give them a treatment of that. What do you think? Answers on the postcard, guys, in the comment. What would you do? Let's have a quick look. Put the cat toilet on, see what's going off with the parameters. That is actually on, but you can't see, can you? 0.1%, 17 degrees C. MV is up to 237, and the pH is 7.78, 7.9. So we're about 7.9. So to conclude, guys, I'm just going to run through my water parameter checks as well, because people are like, oh, did you check your water and stuff like this? Yes, I did. I'm obviously monitoring pH there, and it's around about 7.9, 8, round about there. It obviously changes, can change between mornings and evenings and stuff like that, but you shouldn't have too much of a change. I remember I did look on here to see what sort of toxicity ammonia in the water. Nitrite was completely clear. I did pick up some ammonia. On one test it was 0.29, and on the other one was 0.33, I think it was, or 0.37. So in the end I shared it by 2, got 0.33, times it by 1.214, and I think I had a ppm of 0.4. So 0.4 ppa ammonia. So obviously it's kicking off again. They're getting fed. The filters are being fed of ammonia. They can now grow and colonize with the beneficial bacteria. The bacteria, guys, is a bit of a misconception with this. People think that, oh yeah, fantastic, I've got all this media in here that can take 200 grams, therefore I can put 200 grams of food at any time, in any day, any time of year. Well, it can't. That might be able to take 200 grams of food, this system now, a day, but that's only when all the media is fully colonized, and at the minute it's not, because the conditions aren't there. It only grows to the capacity of what's going in. So for example, if it's not going in, and in terms of ammonia being produced, constantly being produced and feeding the bacteria to grow and grow and grow, then it's not going to grow. And if it did grow and not being maintained, it's going to die off back into it and adjust to the actual system itself. So I hope that makes some sense, that little bit at the end there. So what I've got to do, yes, 0.4 ppm of ammonia, that's not too shabby. Coupling that with the pH they had and the temperature that I'm at, I could technically, because I know it's to do with the filters, I could be taking around 0.7 of ammonia without it being toxic to the fish, the free ammonia. So ammonia in check, nitrite in check. I didn't check the nitrate. KH was 3. Copper, I've already checked, it was 0. When I do a water change, I'm using Chem Safe, so that removes chlorine, chloramine and ammonia as well from the water. And at high levels it actually detoxifies nitrite and nitrate. But anyway, that's just for the water. Woo! So there we go. So yeah, bugger. Check them little coffee filters if you use them. If you leave them in, you're in a bit of bother. There, the sun is out. 23.3 degrees in here. It's like being in Lanzarote again, look. This is what it was like every day in Lanzarote. Even though the sun might come out and a bit of cloud, you still can get on the beach at 23 degrees consistently with the sun. Oh my God, amazing weather. Just the wind, just a bit of wind. So on that note, let's finish with their second feeding of the day. This is what I do. I'm a load in, and there they go. Straight on it, look, 17 degrees, straight on it. Oh, hungry horses. So even the fish that was pulled out yesterday would have been stressed out, or straight on the feed. Here's that Shintaro Sankey that was got that race scale. So like I said on my previous video, the only dilemma I've got now is I've got new fish coming, so I really have got to sort out there where they're going to go, because I've got to put them somewhere. And then let's lob them some in. Oh, changed some batteries as well yesterday. Changed the batteries on me temperature gun. Changed the batteries on something else as well, but I can't remember what it was. So everything's had a good going over. That Comet there, that didn't like the no more blanket weed treatment, even though it's meant to be a natural treatment of minerals and enzymes and additives. This is saying it's 17.7, so everything's in check. Let's just see what temperature this one's throwing at. .8. Try again. 17.6. So it just shows you that this one is holding that 17 degree temperature. Maybe the air source heat pump is kicking in and off ever so often, and it's a couple of degrees higher than this one, but this one's not too far behind, so I might be able to get away with this being fed once a day automatically with one of these timers, and then I have two of them on at different times a day, so one kind of coincides. When one finishes, about an hour later the other one kicks in, and then it just starts trickling. When it turns, it just constantly trickles feed in over a period of 3 hours or so, and then a hand feed as well, but at the minute just going one hand feed. Well, that's 31 minutes of ramblings. Hope all your fish are okay. Are they doing okay? Put in the comments. Are you having problems? Do you do a check like I've just done yesterday? The one at the top of the garden will get it as well. I'm not so worried about them because there's no elements on them or anything like that. I should scrape them, get them out and scrape them. I will do at some point, but I'm in no rush because I can't fully see them, but they look okay. They look okay. The first signs of parasites, people, is a bit of flashing, but that is not always the reason. Mine sometimes flash when I put in these treatments in, not the treatments, but what did I put in yesterday? I can't remember what it was now. Was it Seachem Safe or something like that? They can just get a bit of irritation on the gills. They can when they're feeding. So scraping when they are flashing doesn't always mean they've got parasites. So microscope is the key. It can save you a lot of money. Yeah, so on that note, how are your fish doing? How are your ponds doing? Are you going to go through this same maintenance? Am I ahead of you guys? Because this one's indoors. I know this pond is certainly ahead of the outdoor one for obvious reasons. We're at 17 degrees. And yeah, let us know in the comments what you do. And thanks for watching. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're a subscriber, thanks for the support. It is much appreciated.